Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Watch That Movie podcast. My name is Edgar Palacios. This is the podcast slash YouTube channel where I review and talk about movies, ideally as they release, especially if they're making waves like this one, because today we'll be talking about Sinners, the latest film directed by Ryan Coogler. He directed Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Creed, and Fruitvale Station. I had not yet seen Fruitvale Station, even though that was his first feature film debut. But I've seen the rest, and I have a lot of things to say about this movie, and I don't want to give away too soon. But before we get started with this review, make sure to subscribe, follow if you're listening on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. If you're on YouTube, click that subscribe button, give this video a like. Support. Let me know that you're enjoying these videos. If you have any recommendations, any movies that you want me to see in the future, I'll be keep my eye out for them, and I'll definitely mark that on my list and hopefully get a review for them. But as of right now, since I'm just starting out this channel and just starting out this podcast, I'll just be reviewing movies as I go along that catch my interest. That I think that I'd want to spend the time for. I know that's very selective, and the idea of being a movie reviewer or a critique is to uh, have everything at the buffet. That way I can give an accurate and fair rating. But my schedule is so busy. There's only so many movies I can watch. And then there's some movies, like as I explained it last video, the Minecraft movie is kind of a I don't really need to, really need to be in the theater to know how that one went. But we'll see. Who knows? I mean, I know that's a very backwards way of looking at it, but that's just right now. My schedule's very tight. Um, Sometimes I'll miss my chances to watch movies. There's a lot of movies that I didn't get to see last year, but later on I get to catch up to them, and maybe if that happens, I'll post a review. As like a in hindsight video. Um, but sometimes a movie really does catch my interest. So Sinners, I saw it twice already. So you already know that's how much I like it, and that already gives a sneak peek into how I feel about this movie. Ryan Coogler directed this film. He recently directed Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Creed and Fruitvale Station. I had only seen uh, three of those. I had not seen Fruitvale Station yet. I know that was his first feature film debut. I think he did that before Black Panther, so I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. But now with Sinners added to his resume, he has made five feature film debuts. Two of them, at least to my memory, two of them are absolute box office um, successes, and I think Creed did pretty fair, if not huge, as well. And now Sinners, it looks like, is tracking to be one of the most successful and is definitely one of the most widely positive reviewed films of 2025 because uh, without a doubt, this is the best film I've seen this year. That's come out this year, um, and it's really, really, really good. Ryan Coogler is very integrates his culture and his style into the storytelling, and has a lot to say about you know um, black people and all the ethnicity and cultural um, ethical, political topics that come with that, which makes his movies very engaging and very eye-opening, informative, and why people go out to see it because as knowledgeable and as informative as they are, they're also very entertaining because he's also very, very skilled in his work. And I feel like Sinners is his magnum opus. I know I just said he's very early and getting a head start in his career, but already he has reached a level where he has perfected and mastered his craft. Um, I really like Black Panther. I really like Creed. I really didn't like Wakanda Forever, but that's mainly specifically for writing reasons. But um, but I gotta say, even with Black Panther, I didn't really like it as much as everyone made it out to be. They called it, the best um, MCU movie. I don't think so. They called it was so good that it was nominated for Best Picture of that year. I think it was. It was nominated for Best Picture for the Academy Awards when it came out, and I kind of didn't see the hype. I understood why it was good, and I really enjoyed my time with it, but I just wasn't there on the level that everyone was giving praise for, but it did do a lot of things um, that a lot of people are aware of. It's is an all black cast, or at least for the majority, you know, uh, black and African American people are at the front of the movie. It's a superhero film about the first not African American, but the first black superhero. At least I don't know what the story of Black Panther is in terms of like when he was written in the Marvel comics. But when people think of a black superhero, they think of Black Panther now, and because of that, uh, it was very resonant and very um, it was an opportunity to for people to see themselves in a character they have not seen before. And by that I mean, people who are African American, people who are African, or people who are just black. They're able to see someone on the screen and finally able to get a big movie in the MCU as a superhero, as an action film, and see themselves in that position, in that role. Because when you tend to lean on very cultural movies, a lot of movies that deal with race or religion or ethnicity, it tends to lean on that only. It tends to lean on what are the struggles of being black, or what are the struggles of being Mexican, Asian. You can fill in the blank. But because this was a superhero movie, it changed the game. It wasn't just going to be about this. It was going to be a story like everyone else's. So that's why that movie became as good as it was. And it had Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, amazing performances. It was huge. It was a really fun time. I really liked it, and I really loved what they were doing. It had amazing music. Ludwig Göransson worked the score on that. He's also collaborating with Sinners uh, and Ryan Coogler in this film as well, which is what I really love to see them do. I hope they stick together because they make them two work just as well as Christopher Nolan and Ludwig Göransson now. So hopefully they can share each other enough to work. So Ludwig Göransson could work with both of them now. But all that to say about Black Panther, I didn't really like that as much. I did think that was a really good movie, though. Um, I think Sinners is better, and I think even people who do think that Black Panther is the best MCU movie, or people think that Black Panther is the best Ryan Coogler film, I would argue this is the best one. This is clearly Ryan Coogler's 100% um, passion project. I can't say this isn't a film that he's been mulling over or he's been thinking on or working on for years to come, but it definitely has the feeling of that. It definitely, you can see that in the work, you can see that in the craft, and you can see everything that's put into the film. He has thought through thoroughly. He has put his heart into it, and the way he directed it, the way the camera looks, everything is a masterpiece. Before we get into deeper into the film and like what it talks about, I just gotta say, I had to watch this film two times, not to review it, but I had to watch it again because it was being presented in IMAX 70 millimeter. Um, and that is an experience that I will always treasure whenever a film is to be premiered that way from now on. After watching Oppenheimer, I will always go out of my way to watch movies in that format because it is truly the right way to watch movies, not just because it's on the biggest screen possible, but because it is the highest picture you can get, highest quality of picture you can get in any movie you can nowadays. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, unlike most movies that are filmed digitally, um, this and a few others are filmed on film, like on a film canister. I got something. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to make a cut. Hold on. All right, we're back. Shout out to Cinemark because I can now make my do a little video presentation uh, here on camera with you guys. While most films are shot digitally, uh, before they were shot on film, like actual film reels like this. This is They gave this to me, and then to other select few theaters. Um, these aren't exactly like an exact film reel that you would see on a thing, but it's almost an exact copy. You can see. I think this exactly has 15 perfs, which is perforated the hole, or like the holes. Perfs are like the holes that are in the film, and that determines the width of the the size of the image. I'm not super knowledgeable on this. I'm still learning, but this is basically almost an exact replica of what the IMAX film looks like that was presented in 70 millimeter format. I think the actual IMAX film reel is a little bit um, bigger than this, but this is as close as you get. You can see like one scene with Michael B. Jordan. You can see Sammy, the main character, singing in that. It's actually kind of a spoiler. You can't see it that much, but I don't know why they included that. They handed this to me before um, the film started. So I don't know why they would include that scene on this because it's kind of a spoiler. But you can't really see it on here, so I wouldn't worry about it. And then you have a scene of Michael B. Jordan shooting up with the Tommy gun. It's really hard to see when there's no light. But yeah, it's really really cool. I really really thanks Cinemark for giving this to me. I'll always treasure this now. Um, but IMAX 70 millimeter. If you're in a theater near you that is lucky that is showing that in the format, not only is it probably sold out, but it's being projected through an actual projector running film reels like old movies would. And you'd think that isn't a big deal, but movies aren't being made that way anymore, and they certainly aren't being presented that way anymore because uh, I heard a story where they had to like start collecting and regathering a lot of the equipment that was used to project um, film projection movies when Oppenheimer or when The Hateful Eight was starting to come out because theaters were no longer using those kind of equipment. They kept them in storages, they sold them off, and they um, sometimes threw them away because films were no longer being shot on film, so they weren't going to be projecting them on film. So a lot of that equipment is now lost or just no longer in use. So most films just aren't being shot that way. One, because it's really expensive. Two, it's not as accessible. Shooting on digital is way easier now. You can do it with your phone. Um, yeah, and it's a lot heavier and a lot of work into it. You need a projectionist. You need someone who actually knows how to run the equipment to show the movie. They always give a shout out to the person, at least in my experience when I watched it in IMAX, they said, "Hey, we have so and so. They came all the way here from California or wherever they come from to help show the movie because otherwise they wouldn't be able to show it because someone needs to know how to work an actual projector." I'm sorry I'm geeking out so much on this and not talking about the movie, but I do want to say that this is the way to watch movies. Um, it feels real. It's tangible. And especially and for those of you who are saying, well, so what? Um, Film isn't as good as digital. Not only can I see the imperfect, dust spots like on the film, and you can see the shutter, and you might not like that as much as digital because digital is just constantly displaying light like a stream onto the silver screen. Film will be different. You'll see it'll look like it's you know not glitching, but pulsing very very fast because that's how the camera works. Frames per second is how it's being the camera the projector is like opening and closing a lot of times to project that film as it moves. Um, um, but on 70 millimeter in particular in IMAX, it will be the best definition of picture you can get on a film because it is an equivalent of like 14K or like 16K, a ridiculous number like that. And while our eyes can't exactly perceive anything more than like our eyes can't perceive a limit any more than a limit of resolution. Our eyes resolution isn't like as good as that on a big screen like that, you will see the difference. You will see the high definition on a 70 millimeter IMAX theater. Um, put it shortly, it was a memorable experience. I'll be watching it with my brother again, and I hope to see the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's new film that'll be hopefully coming out next year. It's most definitely being shot in IMAX and on film, and I will 100% be watching that night of, um, even if I have to wait hours to buy the tickets because uh, this is the way to watch movies. Um, this is the way to experience this format of art. And I really recommend, and I really can't stress enough um, how important this is because it shows that. And both showings, I went Thursday night, the night the movie opened, and then I went Um, a few days ago, I don't. It was like Monday or Tuesday. I went a few days ago to watch with my friend. Sold out. One, it was the matinee showing was as sold out as the night showing premiere, and I'm going again on a matinee on a Saturday, and I can already tell by when I bought my tickets that it was almost sold out. People want to watch movies this way, and I'm glad people are watching it this way. Um, but this movie would have gotten support regardless because Ryan Coogler has now accumulated a fan base and a following because he tells movies that are important and equally as entertaining. So, jumping into the review, Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, stars Michael B. Jordan as two twins, the Smokestack twins. Their names are Smoke and Stack. Um, I think Smoke's name is Elijah, but I don't think we ever learned Stack's real name, or that or just forgot. But their names are Smoke and Stack. They're the Smokestack twins. Um, Michael B. Jordan, really entertaining. Really, I mean, it's no surprise. He's such a charismatic and such a fun actor. Um, my first experience with him was watching Chronicle, and that movie I also recommend because it's really fun. It's a found footage film. You see baby Michael B. J. on that. He was really young. He plays a teenager, and ever since then, I knew that like man, that guy, he's my favorite. He was like, and he wasn't the main character; he was a side character. I knew Michael B. Jordan was going to be a all-time movie star because he's very uh, charismatic on the screen. He acts really well. You can tell the differences between the two twins, even though they look exactly the same. And I know they're wearing one's red and one's blue, but they're two different characters, and you can tell from the small differences. And he's truly a tremendous actor, very fun and entertaining. But this movie centrally, while they are the main characters, and while his name is like on the top of the poster, uh, the movie focuses on Sammy, played by Miles Canton, uh, also terrific actor, an amazing singer. This movie has a lot more music than I was expecting it to be, which is not a complaint. It has a lot of songs. I wouldn't call it a musical. You could call it a musical. I guess you could call it a musical, but I was really surprised on how much songs there was going to be in this because going into this, I was expecting just vampires, and I'm kind of glad it wasn't just that, but at the same time, uh, so far from what I'm seeing from the audience's reaction, people aren't having a problem with the equally split genres between this film because this movie is marketed as a horror. I really wouldn't count it as a horror. It has a lot of horror elements, and because it has vampires, you can classify it as a horror. But I would just count this as like a drama slash thriller with a lot of horror elements. Um, but I was surprised by the music. Miles Canton plays Sammy, who is a preacher boy who wants to be a blues musician who plays on the guitar and is really good at singing. Um, he's really fun to watch on the screen, but it's also really impressive because I think this is his first acting credit, at least in a professional film. Really good find, a really good actor. I am very impressed with the rest of this cast. Jack O'Connell as Remick, who's the main vampire that you see in this movie. He's equally as charming in a way that's like kind of threatening, and he's like really fun to watch. And you kind of feel for him, like not really like that you sympathize with him, but like he's like, you're pretty cool, man. I like you. Like, and he's also a good singer. A lot of good performances in this movie. Um, the actress who plays Annie, she's the main actress other than Haley Steinfeld, but she's the ex partner, I guess, or like the romantic interest of Smoke. Uh, Actress's name is Wum Wumni Masaku. I'm Please forgive me if I mispronounced that, but she was very good in this. I know she starred in Loki, the TV series on Disney Plus. So I was surprised. I was like, "Wow, that's the chick from Deadpool and Wolverine," because she was also in that for a brief moment. She was really good. Haley Steinfeld did very well. Um, but I think my favorite performance um, in this movie was Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, who's the blues musician that the elder blues musician in the movie. I have never seen a character on the screen and have never thought about the actor. Every for a single second, even if it's for a millisecond, if I see a performance on the screen, I'm like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, I've seen this person in that thing. Even if it's for a second, I'll be fully immersed in the movie, but I'll think, but this guy, Delroy Lindo, as Delta Slim, I think that's the character's name. I could be wrong, but you know, Lindo's character, one of the most entertaining characters and one of the most real characters I've seen, at least in terms of performances. And like, I did not see the actor one bit. He was 100% in on in on the performance, truly believable. Um, some some actors are just like complete Christian Bale's levels of immersion in terms of like I can't even see the actor. I just see the character, and that's Delroy Lindo's performance in that movie. He was my favorite um, by far in the cast, and he was very entertaining. I really liked all of his lines. He's kind of a comedic, uh, not a comedic gag character, but he was a very funny character, and he was also um just very moving uh, actor. Really experienced veteran actor. I will definitely look out for more movies that he's in, and go look at his past films because he's really good. Ryan Coogler and the cinematography in this, I'm gonna kill myself. I got to look up the the cinematographer's name because the DP for this movie um, is a woman, and that's a big deal because you don't see a lot of cinematographer women's nowadays. You don't see a lot of big big female leads in Hollywood um, behind the camera. This is what I mean to say. Autumn Dural Arkapaw. Sorry if I mispronounced it, but cinematography. I gotta name her out because the cinematography in this was absolutely astonishing. It was great. It was very personal. There's a lot of subtle color hues that change that feel very akin to the settings that are being shot in the movie. Uh, Big differences between the night and the orange lights and the warm hues, and in the day with the bright sunlight, and yet there's blue shadow hues that give like that southern feel that makes it really feel like Mississippi or wherever. I think it's Mississippi where this movie takes place. I could be wrong. Yeah, the Mississippi Delta is where this movie takes place, but the colors and everything about it, the way this movie was shot, uh, very, very impressive. And with Ryan Coogler's direction, the film looks uh, outstanding. And when the IMAX goes the full IMAX ratio in the movie, it is really, really jaw dropping. Incredible visuals. Um, hats off to Ryan Coogler and um, Autumn Durald Arkapaw. You know, he and her, they did an amazing job. Really impressed. But my favorite part, um, in terms of in the in terms of the creative aspects, the technical aspects that isn't the actors or the DP or the director, it has to be the score. The songs, yes, sung by some of the actors in this movie, which are equally impressive, especially a few scenes. The score for this movie is unlike anything I've heard before. I get tired of westerns or movies that deal with the South because they can tend to be one note, or you've heard one and you've heard them all. Ever since you can think of the oldest western movie or the movie that deals with the South, they all they have to lean and depend on the certain instruments that were used in that time to convey the genre that they're telling, to let you know that it's a western and let you know it's a southern. But Ludwig Göransson, not only can you listen to a soundtrack and not tell that it was the same guy that did Tenet, the same guy that did Oppenheimer, the same guy that did uh, the soundtrack for the TV show Community, the same person that did uh, Black Panther. I don't know if I said Black Panther already, but this is the same guy, and every score he does sounds completely different. And this one sounds like no other movie I've heard before in this genre with the South. Um, it's This is the Jim Crow era that the movie takes place in. and it uses a lot of guitar, banjos, harmonicas, pianos, uh, fiddles, like strings and all that. Um, and yet it sounds completely different. And there's like this, I don't know what it is, but when the music gets going and the guitar is playing and there's some banjos, they're gonna go boom, da, boom, da, boom. There's like this, like it could be a synthesized version of a violin or like a harmonica, but it's like this echoey note that goes in the background that like makes it feel like mystical, makes it feel like surreal. Like if you got to listen to the soundtrack if you've seen the movie or if you haven't seen the movie, because it sounds like nothing I've heard before, and it's really 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 catchy. I'm listening to the soundtrack like 24/7 now since I've seen the movie, because it is absolutely amazing, and the music, the score like evolves with the movie as the genre starts to reveal itself, because this is a vampire movie and this is a horror genre in you know in some ways, in a big way. But I just don't feel like it's 100% a horror genre. But we'll see. We'll call it a horror. We'll call it a horror genre in the terms of this, because it starts to evolve. That it completely, the soundtrack from the beginning completely changes um, in the end. Um, I'm really impressed. I'm really geeking out about this movie because there's a lot of it that I really do like. And while I do think that some people might be blowing it out of proportion, some people are calling it the best movie ever, or like uh, but it does deserve all the hype it gets, because it really is. It really is something. Not only is it original, not only is it a big success, it's directed by uh, a black director, a black writer, a female cinematographer. And I know some of my people might roll their eyes and like, well, we get it. Like it's we get a I don't know, somewhat DEI movie. No, these are made by incredibly talented people who are getting their chance to voice their creative opinion and are doing really well at it. And it's people are noticing that, and it's a big success. People like it. People enjoy it. So all this to say that hopefully this tells Hollywood that we love original movies and we want movies to be presented this way, like an IMAX 70 millimeter on film, projected with the projector, made by people of all races and all color and all gender, ethnicities, what have you, because they have equally important voices to share. Because this movie is a testament to that. That it's a really good movie, and it speaks a lot and sheds light on the things that deal with history in America, things that I didn't know about, things that I knew about. It's really fun. It's that's the great thing about Ryan Coogler that I'm starting to realize now. He teaches you, and he dazzles you, and he leaves you with something new. Um, he's a phenomenal, absolutely outstanding director. um, all I'm listening to now is just him talking about the movies, and I'm just now realizing I it surprises me when directors love movies and the way they're made, because a lot of the times I don't get that from directors, or you just don't hear about it enough. Sometimes I don't hear how they talk. Um, I hear a lot of interviews with, like, for example, I'm just gonna give one example, David Fincher, but I don't think I've seen enough videos, or I've at least not yet seen a movie about him really like get really excited about it. It just seems like he's always like kind of out of it. I could be wrong, where I just haven't seen enough videos about him talking about movies. But Ryan Coogler, if you watch a video about him talking about how he made this movie and the ideas that come with it and how he feels about the story, it makes you fall in love with him, man. I just really like him, and I really, uh, someone who wants to be in that creative field and who wants to be in that space. Um, it makes me smile, and that's not something you often get as a creator, because even when you try to be as humble as you can be, when you see someone successful in your field, or in the field that you want to pursue in, you can't help but feel a little jealous, a little envious. But with him, I don't feel that because he just loves it so much and he's really good at it, and that's why I really like him. And the movie's really fun. Um, it's very patient at times. Some people might be able to find it a bit slow, but the dialogue's entertaining. The shots, the cinematography, the landscapes are absolutely gorgeous. The music is enchanting. The actors are giving it their all on screen, because, as Ryan Coogler said, because they know it's being shot on film, and you can't just like, all right, guys, just insert the next memory card and we can just get on with this. Film is expensive, and so is time, especially with the time it takes to shoot on film because they got to load reels in, so they got to do all this to prepare to just start shooting the movie. They knows how time sensitive and important it is. So not only do they realize they're shooting in a format that's uh, historic and a foundation of this entire format of movie making, they know that it's expensive and time consuming. So they give it their all, and their performances are demonstrated obviously throughout the movie. Um, there is one scene in the movie that I will only touch on. I know I'm not going to jump into spoilers. I'm not going to go into spoilers in this movie because I've already talked a lot about it. But there is one scene in the movie that was like, oh my god, I have not seen anything like this in cinema ever. And it really makes me appreciate, because you can't do this with any other art form, with any other format. You can't do this with the painting. You can't do this with music, at least with just music or with just songs or vocal performance or a dance or um, anything, what have you, you name it. You can only do this with movies. And there's one scene at the second act of the film that really felt like I was levitating, like I was watching a director, like not only just him having a conversation with you, but like this is gonna sound like a weird analogy, but I have never done drugs, but if someone were to if you were to trip out with someone, that's what it felt like. It felt uh like ecstasy. Like the scene in that movie felt like nothing I've ever felt before. And I don't want to touch on it too much because I really don't want to spoil it, because it is a very important and integral part of the story. Um, I get it might put some people off. I won't lie. It might kind of take you out of it, and you might be like, "All right, man, that's too much." I'm like, but we're dealing with movie with vampires. I mean, you can kind of surrender yourself to the to the realities of this movie, um, if you can. So, but the movie, that scene in particular, uh, like nothing I've seen before, and made me glad I watched it the night of, because me watching with everyone else, um, they got it, man. Like everyone loved it. Everyone clapped as soon as they saw Ryan Coogler's name at the end of the screen, at the end of the film. Um, uh, Amazing film, an absolute fun time I had with this. Um, if I were to give it a review, I think I'd give it a confident. Again, I don't think it's the best thing, but you've literally heard everything I've said about this movie, so I absolutely love it. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that'd be like a 9 out of 10. Um, I really like this movie. I think Ryan Coogler has. I feel like maybe I need to watch Fruitvale Station. I mean, of course, I need to watch that movie, but I mean, I need to watch it to see like what is exactly his style, or what has it come to compared to other films and then this one, because I feel like I've seen what he is capable of and I see his style, but I haven't seen it. I need to catch all the little things, like what does he do with the camera? What does he do with this? What does he do? I really want to pay attention to how he makes movies now, because I've seen a lot of his movies, almost all of his movies now, and I haven't really caught into anything else that seems Ryan Coogler is, other than the story, other than the way he casts, other than the stories that he tells. I really want to pay attention to how he does that, because, um, man, what a what a director, what a movie, what a time. Um, I really can't recommend this enough. Please watch it. Not only is it a good movie and you might enjoy your time with it, but it tells Hollywood that these are the movies that we want. That we want original storytelling, and we want um, creative directors like Ryan Coogler, who tells stories as entertaining, as important as this. Man, I didn't really talk about this. I didn't really get into too much about this movie, but I guess there's so much that I don't want to talk about. Um, I guess again, just quick mention. Like, let's go back a bit, because I know I already gave my review, but this just in case you were wondering, you were wondering what the movie is, because I apologize for not talking about what it's about. This movie deals with you know two brothers who come back from Chicago, Illinois, back to where they grew up in the Mississippi Delta, which is like in the in the South in the Jim Crow era. So there's a lot of segregation going on. Um, you got former former the children of, or like former slaves, and you still got people working at I don't know what exactly it was called. It wasn't plantations. It was like they still worked the same jobs they did as cotton picking or in the fields or farming, but there's a lot of farming. I'm really failing my history right here, but it was like crop sharing or something like that. But basically, they're going back to their roots. They're going back to where they grew up, where it's a very Jim Crow segregated South. And they buy a old mill, basically an old building, like a farm looking building, um, to open up a juke joint, which is like basically a club, but specifically, for black people, so they can, you know, dance, drink, eat, have fun, and enjoy themselves in an area that usually wouldn't welcome them or wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves in, because this is the segregated South. So they try to open this, have an opening night for this juke joint, and Sammy, the a preacher boy's son who wants to be a blues musician, um, tags along, who's cousins with the Smokestack twins, wants to join them, wants to play music, wants to play it in front of a live venue audience against his dad's wishes, because he's a preacher and he thinks music is a sin, or at least uh, dancing with the devil. Um, and there's also vampires. You got vampires in this movie, so go watch Sinners. Go check it out. Uh, Please go watch it in 70 millimeter if you can. You're probably not going to be able to watch it because it's either going to be sold out, and it's only being shown in 8 theaters in the U.S. in 70 millimeter IMAX format. And there's only so much time until it's being presented that way, because I think Thunderbolts comes out, and once Thunderbolt comes out next week, it's going to take up the IMAX theaters, and then it will no longer be presented there. But go watch it regardless. It's a good movie. Go check it out. And next week, I'll be watching and reviewing Thunderbolts, the latest MCU film, which will be coming out. That one does look kind of promising. I feel like I have more hopes in that one than I did with Captain America: Brave New World. Um, I really like a lot of the cast members and a lot of the characters that are in Thunderbolts, and I'm really interested in how they're going to use the villain Sentry slash the Void, um, because I don't know how the Thunderbolts are going to beat that. I think Earth is doomed if you've seen the trailers for Thunderbolts. But I'll also be watching that in IMAX because I think it was also filmed in IMAX. Not IMAX film exactly, but in the IMAX aspect ratio is what I've heard. So I'll be really looking forward to that experience. If you want to check out my review to that one or any reviews, movie reviews that I've done before, go check out my YouTube channel or wherever you can listen to my podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, what have you. Um, Click subscribe, click a like, leave a comment if you want me to review on a specific movie that's coming out or that will be coming out soon. Um, I'd be like to hear some feedback or any suggestions. If you're enjoying the video, please stick around. I got more content to make, and I hope to put out more movies, put out more reviews for movies, and hopefully put out some extra content on YouTube, because I'll also be doing that. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. Um, if you like hearing me yap about movies, this is the place for you. All right. My name's Edgar, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.